It's Wednesday, it's 12 o'clock, so it's Movement Not Miracles with Eat, Move, Be Happy. I'm Anna. The sun is shining, it's a beautiful day. We could have done this outside, but somebody's either strimming or mowing their lawn, so it was a little bit noisy, so I've opted to stay inside for today. And today I am going to run through some mobility stuff and some stretches for our upper back. So you might find sitting in the same position for a long period of time, probably hunched over, shoulders rounded. We spend a lot of time sitting as human beings, and we're not designed to sit for long periods. Sitting cross-legged is better for our hips, for example, but chairs don't make that necessarily very easy. So we can get quite stiff through our upper back. So the focus for today's Movement Not Miracles is around some mobility and stretches through our upper back and through our shoulders. So you can do this standing or seated. There's a bit of a combination of both today. So to start off with, I'm going to stand tall. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed. So often, you know, we don't stand properly. We'll stand with our weight on one side and our hip sticking out. Just pay attention and catch yourself. You know, when you're making a cup of tea, how are you standing by the work surface? We should try and stand so that our weight is evenly spread, and then we're not loading one side of our body more than the other. We'll all have a preferred side, and that's fine, but the idea is that we're a bit more balanced, and then we reduce the potential stresses and strains on one side of our joints rather than the other side. So standing with our weight evenly spread between our left and our right foot, or if you're sitting between your left and your right bottom bone. And to start off with, just roll your shoulders. And when we're rolling our shoulders, don't let your bum stick out and your belly stick out. So we don't want to be like this. So we want our bottom tucked under, our shoulders rolling. Ooh, that was a nice crunch. I think I said yesterday, if your body crunches and cracks when you start to do these moves, there's nothing particularly wrong with that as long as there's no serious pain. It's just the joints getting used to moving, and then you can take your arms back. And again, don't let your belly stick out, so you should be working through your belly, and don't let your bottom stick out while this is happening. Aiming to get your arms back behind your ears, and those more observant people will recognise that I can't do that, but you'll also know by now, if you've been watching for a while, that my shoulder flexibility and mobility is not brilliant, and so I do have to work at this. So as we push our shoulders up and round, your shoulder blades should be moving on the back of your chest, and that's perfectly fine. So we're pinching our shoulder blades together, and then they're moving down and round and widening, and that's what we should be aiming to do. So you should be able to feel those shoulder blades moving around. We're now going to do some elephant ears. So again, check your weight, check that you're standing in a balanced way, comfortably. Stand tall, so stand up out of your pelvis. If you're sitting, sit out of your pelvis so that you're not compressed down. I think of somebody pulling me with a rope, a piece of string attached to the top of my head, the crown of my head, and just pulling you nice and tall. So you can imagine, if your vertebrae are stacked, that there's a little bit more space in between each vertebrae, just in stretching up tall, but staying relaxed across your shoulders. So we're not standing like this, everything else is relaxed. So elephant ears, hands clasped behind your head. Don't let that belly stick out and don't let that bum stick out. So we are tilting our pelvis. Turn around the other way this time. So our pelvis is tilted so your back is nice and flat. We're not sticking our bum out. It's tucked underneath. And then we're just going to stretch one elbow down towards the floor, back up to middle, and then the other elbow. We're aiming to point the elbows towards the floor. Now, if you find you're getting a bit more movement, like this, that is not wrong. What you're doing there is you're flexing through this part of your spine, which is lower down your back. And in that flexion, you're probably going to find that you feel a bit of a stretch down the side of your body as well. So if that part of your spine needs some mobility, by all means. What we're trying to work on today is this part of our spine, so this part of our back region, our upper thoracic region. So for that to happen, we want to take the bend out of the middle part of your back. So you need to work through your core, so the core between in the front of your body and the back, to keep that bit stable. And we're aiming just for the movement in the upper part of our back. We're trying to isolate the region to those vertebrae in between our shoulder blades. Keep those elbows back. Feel my elbow creeping forwards then. Don't let that bum stick out. And we keep breathing. Now we're doing this as more of a mobility move than a stretch. So the idea is we do a few on each side. And then what I want you to do, slight variation of our elephant ears, keep your elbows back, and now I want you to twist. But as you twist round, I want you to try and keep your hip bones pointing forwards. So if you can imagine you've got headlights on the bony bit of your hips here, and they're going to continue to point forwards. But as you twist round, you just isolate that upper part of our back. Stand nice and tall and keep our elbows back. So you won't move much, you won't move around very far. If you were to release the rest of your back and let your hips go, then you're going to move a bit further. And again, that's not wrong. And if your back needs to move through the lower part, then you can build that into your routine. That's perfectly fine. If we just want to isolate the upper part, and we try and keep those headlights pointing forwards on our hips. And again, we're doing this as a mobility move, so we do a few on each side. Now typically, when we're doing mobility work with your back, you'll find that you might do quite a bit of movement through your hips, so your lower part of your back moves, and you might do some twisting. So again, the lower part of your back moves. Just in sitting and standing, the lumbar part of your back is flexing and contracting. But we don't always then focus on the upper part of our back. And that's the bit that if we ignore, it can get stiffer, and particularly if we're sitting still for long periods, that's the bit that we get more compressed, less space between the vertebrae, and that's what ends up with aches and pains. So you end up, because you're sitting in a position that's not stretched and a little bit more hunched over, your muscles work to hold that position rather than holding a position that's broader and better for your joints. And so it can be an ongoing cyclical thing. So don't forget your upper back is the moral of this story. Another standing one, but again you can do it sitting down if you've got a chair, and you can do it seated. So we are going to clasp our hands behind our back. So your hands are clasped, bottom tucked under, and you're going to stretch your hands away from your body. If you can get your elbows straight, that's what we're aiming for. Don't let your belly stick out, don't let your bum stick out. Now this is going to stretch across the front of your shoulders, and you should be working to really squeeze those shoulder blades back together. So we're still working on that upper back region, but we're also getting some work through our shoulders, the front of our shoulders. And hopefully you've got a bit more movement than I have. And whilst we're here, we may as well just do a bit of work on our neck. So head over to one side, and then back to the centre, over to the other side, and then look over one shoulder, don't let those arms relax, and back, and then over to the other side, and then chin to your chest, and look up at the ceiling. Okay, relax your arms, and just tactical waggle of your shoulders, get the blood moving back in there. I'm going to do a seated twist now. Now you can do this sitting on a chair. I'm going to do it cross-legged, so we'll work a little bit through our hips whilst we're doing this. So it doesn't matter what position we're working on, because really the focus is on our backs, but if you can sit cross-legged, then you're also just going to help open your hips up a little bit. So we're sitting nice and tall as ever, shoulders relaxed and down, nice and broad across our collarbones. One hand is going to go behind us, either to get hold of the back of the chair or to push on the floor, staying sitting upright, and the other hand is coming across that thigh. Now this time we are going to twist through from the base of our spine, and if you think of all the way up, but we're trying to get this shoulder back as far as possible and this shoulder round as far as possible. And you can use the floor to help you. So if you, either the chair, we pull on the back of the chair, or push on the floor with that hand and pull on your leg with this one. Stay sitting nice and tall. And I find it helps if I look where I'm trying to twist and stay breathing. Breathing just helps us relax into the move. If we tense up as we're going through the move, then that doesn't actually help matters. And round to the other side. And keep breathing. Oh, that actually feels quite nice. I can feel my back loosening up now, which is very useful. So you should feel that your upper back feels a little bit looser, a bit more movement in it, maybe in your shoulders as well. So again, as ever, little and often. So if you do some of those stretches each time you make a cup of tea, nip to the loo, then your back will keep moving. Because if you find yourself sitting in long periods, the golden rule, get up and walk around, that's a start. So move as much as you can, even if you're not able to get up and walk around. Doing some movement through your upper back is a good thing to remember. So what else have I got to tell you about? Oh yes, don't forget our relay challenge on Sunday. So if you haven't yet registered for your time slot and chosen your challenge, then check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com, or have a look on the peer support group. The link for registering there is on there. We have loads of people, it's fantastic, but we have loads more spaces. So there's lots more time slots, and you choose your challenge. It'd be great to have more of you along. And check out the website. There are other ideas for looking after your health and well-being, some exercise ideas, your relationship with food, some tutorials on stretches and how to improve your mobility. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the sunshine. I think it's going to be a bit warmer today and tomorrow as well, which fingers crossed. If the weather's nice, maybe we'll go outside for tomorrow's Movement Not Miracles. So have fun. Let us know if there's anything you would like me to cover, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.